Oh, no. No.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. For the second time in a week, Joe Biden intercepts Kamala Harris's poor attempt to a media blitz. While Kamala Harris was on The View talking about Hurricane Helene, Joe Biden went live for a press conference. You can't get rid of Joe that easy. You cooed him out, and he's still tying you to the Biden and Harris administration, which she's trying to distance herself from. Shout out to everybody watching. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. And The View asked her about if there was anything, if she could have done things differently. And she says no. She says no. And leftist bias media is turning against Kamala.
Done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Molly, what do you make of that?
I'm surprised, frankly, that she doesn't have more to say about this, given that she and her campaign know that this is one of the main questions that voters have about her. And one of the main things she's been trying to establish as part of her candidacy is the idea that she would represent a break from the past 4 years, and to not be able to come up with something to say in that moment. She continues to not be particularly nimble on her feet in a lot of these interviews. And this is a very obvious question that gave her an opportunity, frankly, to differentiate herself in a way that would have made news, that would have answered, I think, the curiosity of a lot of voters who want to know how she would lead differently. And she's not very specific in laying that out. And she can't point to a decision she would have made differently, which, you know, in an electorate that thinks that doesn't like the way this administration has led, and that doesn't like the track that the country is on, that may not be a very satisfactory answer.
I mean, it's a delicate dance.
CNN can't cover for Kamala anymore. They cannot cover for Kamala. She was asked on The View about the FEMA's failed response to Hurricane Helene. Before we continue with this, I want to send my prayers to all the individuals that were affected in Hurricane Helene, that in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. And then also I want to send my prayers to the individuals that are going to be affected with this upcoming hurricane, Hurricane Milton. So hopefully you guys join me in those. But here is what Kamala Harris had to say about Hurricane Helene.
Kamala, and I'm calling you Kamala because for all of those who are mispronouncing it, I want you all to know how to say it. There we go. But let's talk about something you would do different from Donald Trump. Right now, there is a monster storm barreling towards my state of Florida, a place that's still reeling from Hurricane Helene. Trump is lying, claiming that the Biden administration is intentionally withholding aid from the areas where Republicans live, and that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants. Ironically, that is something he did in 2019. What do you think the effect of these lies are, and why is he doing this?
Well, it's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility.
Okay. Kamala Harris, at this point, every single interview she does, it is digging her deeper into a pit beyond return. You could take sound bites from each of these videos and create a campaign for Donald Trump, an ad campaign for Donald Trump. This woman, clearly, I'm not a body language expert by any means, but when I don't know this woman's name because I don't watch The View, but this woman asks her a question.
It's profound.
It's profound. Like, she doesn't give a crap. She does not. I'm going to replay this and then I'll play the full video, but this woman doesn't care. You can clearly tell all of this is an act and it is just crap. And if you're not seeing through this, golly, everybody that's on this channel sees through this because they know. But this, she could please do more interviews so you can dig yourself deeper.
Why is he doing this?
Well, it's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and frankly callousness.
Yeah.
So lives are literally at stake right now. I traveled to Georgia and to North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. In Georgia, I met a woman who just days earlier, her husband was killed in their home by a fallen tree.
Yeah.
Days later, I met with her and her daughter. You can imagine the pain, the shock that they are still in about what they experienced, what they witnessed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about real human beings and their lives and them losing everything. Everything. This woman lost her husband, her child lost her father. People are losing their home with no hope of ever being able to reconstruct or return. And the idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really...
The only person that's playing political games in this pandering game of campaign politics is you. And while she was on The View, Joe Biden literally throws Kamala Harris under the bus and goes live on at a press conference.
The governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call. So I don't know. There was a rough start in some places, but every governor from Florida to North Carolina has been fully cooperative and supportive and acknowledged what this team is doing. And they're doing an incredible job. But we got a lot more to do.
Kamala Harris has openly stated that she had attempted to call Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis denied her calls. And Ron DeSantis is claiming that he did not receive any calls from her, yet he did receive calls from Joe Biden. So in this particular perspective, the only individual that's playing political games with individuals and their livelihood is Kamala Harris. Let me know what you guys think about that. Drop that down in the comments down below. And here is what Kamala Harris had to say when she was asked about the coup with Joe Biden. And this is probably why. Joe Biden's a smart guy. He is a smart guy. He's a career politician. So he's going to get back to these individuals that that cooed him out of his reelection campaign.
I went to work out and I had on cooking shows. And they were asking me, Auntie, what's that ingredient? What's that ingredient? And they're playing while I'm working out. Make breakfast. We sit down. We're having breakfast. And we'd been working on a puzzle. So they wanted more bacon, got more bacon. Then, you know how it goes. Yeah. And so then we had a puzzle. So we went back up to work on the puzzle. I'm still in my workout clothes.
Right.
And we're working on the puzzle and the phone rings.
Right.
So she has two contradicting stories here. There was an interview that she did about a week and a half ago where she said that she was making pork roast or something like that. And she was marinating the pork roast. And then she has this bacon story. Auntie, we need more bacon. What story is it, Kamala? Which lie are you going to choose here? This is comedy. This is absolutely comedy.
So I said, Auntie, you'll be right back. And it was the president. And he told me his decision. And I'll tell you, the first thing I asked him is, are you sure? Because what a big decision.
Yeah.
And historic.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked for a while. Meanwhile, I went back into the room where the girls were, and I'm like, go get your father.
I'm not going to share the rest of this clip because The View, we all know what's going on with The View. You know, it's ridiculous. And here is Scott Jennings freaking demolishing Kamala Harris regarding her political scheme regarding Hurricane Helene. Oh, sorry guys, the audio got disconnected. Let me reconnect the audio here. There we go.
I mean, she's attacking the governor of a state that's about to get lashed with one of the most historic hurricanes we've ever seen. Is she crazy? He did not ignore her call.
She was
He did not
talking,
ignore
just to
her
be
call.
clear, she was talking broadly about the politicization of the storms.
I think she was talking about Ron DeSantis. He did not ignore her call. And in fact, according to what I've read tonight, he actually spoke to the president of the United States.
He
Joe
did speak
Biden.
with President Biden.
And he has said time and again that he and the federal government are working well together. So who here is politicizing this?
Yeah,
Harris.
I hate to agree with Scott on anything, but I agree. I agree in this case.
I actually agree with you that there's too much disinformation, misinformation, or things that are not factual swirling about the hurricane. I actually think the facts are bad enough. When the storm came ashore, Biden was at the beach and Harris was raising money. And that was on September 26th. On September 27th, we had devastation in North Carolina. It wasn't until October the 2nd that the president mobilized the military. And it wasn't until the 5th that they mobilized 500 search and rescue out of the military. So I think there's two things going on. The immediate impacted people and what they need and what they can get. People need to consult their local officials and governors about that. But there is a conversation to be had here about spending priorities, yes, and also about presidential decision-making, which in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of Republicans, were really, really slow.
I think you're totally right about spending priorities. That's a big conversation. Hopefully one day we will have that conversation.
Peter Ducey had asked Miss Jean-Pierre the other day about, show me your budget and I'll show you your priorities. And the budget clearly shows that American people aren't first. And this $750 fund is very difficult to get. I'm going to leave you guys with this. We got to remember that Kamala Harris was cooed into her particular position. Prior to this, she was rated the worst vice president in United States history.
There are reports that say that you have the lowest approval rating of any vice president. Well, there are polls that also say I have great approval ratings.
Swing voters don't like Harris. How big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
She's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision.
They don't like her. There's lots of reasons they don't like her.
Kamala Harris's approval rating is now at 28%, which is an historic low for any modern vice president.
We're hearing it from mainstream media, one outlet after another, one leak after another. That Kamala Harris is the worst vice president ever, the worst politician ever.
We don't see the vice president. What people are saying to me, and I'm sure they're saying it to you, where's the vice president? Some White House officials are feeling that she came off looking unprepared for inevitable questions about when she might visit the southern border.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point that Lester Holt was making was obvious to anyone else who was watching this interview, which is that the issues at the border are inextricably linked with the portfolio that she's been given.
The border is secure. We have a secure border.
Bidenomics is working. Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
He picked Kamala Harris to be his running mate. She was ranked and is ranked as the most liberal senator in the United States Senate. So he could have gone the other way, but he went to the left.
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate. Full stop. Full stop. Sit.
How are you, the worst vice president in United States history, and now you're asking for a promotion? It's bananas. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop your comments down below. Smash a like button, share, subscribe. Joe Biden's throwing Kamala under the bus. As always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.